and welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Monika and this is episode 23. It's been quite a while since the last episode. Actually, it's been almost a month. So yeah, thank you for coming back to my channel. I'll deal with the life stuff at the end, I think, if I have time. And I'll just jump right into the knitting right now. I have a few finished objects. One of them is actually what I'm wearing. This is a self-drafted pattern made out of Sandnes Garn Smart in the colorway Sjøgrønn, which is like sea green. Yeah. The details will be in this corner as I'm talking about the project, so you can see more of the information, and there will also be more information in the description below. So yeah, this project didn't take as long as I kind of thought it would. It's been done for almost a month. I got it done right after the last podcast episode. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat meowing in the background. She's desperately trying to get into either my or my husband's office, and both of us are like, not right now. She's very clingy today. Yeah. Other than that, I have been using it for a month already, so it's already a bit pilly on the sleeves because I've been using it while biking, which has been very comfortable. I have a jacket over when I'm going downhill, and then when I get to a hill that I'm going up, I take off the jacket and only have this, so I can still keep warm, but it's a lot more breathable. So yeah, I do hope you can't hear my husband yelling at the cat. She is very, very, very naggy. Oh well. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this sweater. I'm very fond of it. I love it a lot. And I might release the pattern one day, but I don't quite know when. Kitty, no! No nagging. Go away! I do hope she doesn't stand outside the door for long. But yeah, usually she sleeps and are like quite fine when I do find the time to film, but today she's not. But yeah, I love the sweater. I'm very happy. It's not my only finished object, so I think that's a good segue. I do apologize for the state of these. I have been using them for the past month. I also finished this quite like close to the last podcast. I did try to depel them a tiny bit, but yeah. These are my second pair of under the oak socks that I made for myself, and I've been wearing them a lot. The weather keeps going between very warm and very cold, or not very warm, but like warm weather for the spring, and then suddenly turning to negative degrees again. That's better. So yeah, these ones are made out of Alpakka Forte. This is my own design. You can find the link below in the description if you do want to buy the pattern. Yeah, Dal Alpakka Forte in the colorway Marl Petroleum and Corn Yellow, I think. Maisgul, yeah. So, I love them. I use them a lot. I do think I'm gonna have to mend them quite soon. The only thing I regret is how I did the cuffs. Usually I cast on and then start right into the round, but for some reason this time I did one the other way to kind of get the cuffs looking a bit better at the top, but the problem with that is that the gap where the first stitch is I don't know how easy it is to see on the camera, but it has a tendency to like stretch out and loosen, and you get that one wonky stitch there. And it means I'm going to have to go in and like tighten it quite often, and yeah, it just doesn't look as tidy as when I usually just go right into the round, so I'm not going to do that the next time. For once I did actually carry the blue yarn on the inside. I don't think I'm gonna do that the next time either, because I do find it looks neater when I don't. Though it was a pleasure to have less ends to weave in, but weaving ends have never bothered me, so yeah, I just don't think carrying that yarn was worth the hassle. The yellow I always carry, because it's just a very short way to carry it. It's like, I don't know if you can see it here. Yeah. I have been using these a lot and I love them, and actually it doesn't look like I need to mend them quite yet, not that one at least. The only thing that I'm not that happy with is because the color underneath is quite light, it does very quickly look dirty. No need for mending yet though, that's good. So yeah, I love this pattern, it's very fun to knit. I'm very pleased with it. I'm just gonna put my socks on right away because I'm cold. The floors in my office is quite cold, so better just put on my warm woolen socks again. So yeah, I love those socks. It's the second time I made a pair for myself, and the last finished object is actually that I mended my first pair again. So yeah. Oh, I forgot to remove the needle. Good thing it's blunt. So yeah, these are my original pair. I love this color combination. These ones are made out of brown and Grangrønn? Forest green? No, I think it's Grangrønn, yeah. The information will be down here. And yeah, I spent quite a lot of time mending them. I don't know, I did wash them first just to try and make it easier to see where you need to mend them. Oh, give me a moment, I'm gonna turn on the lights on the camera so it's easier to see. But yeah, yeah, you might be able to see where I mended them. I did also mend the heel. I did actually mend this part here too, where it's broken rib, and I mended it in broken rib, no, twisted rib I mean, and it turned out really nice. I'm very happy with that. Seems like I did step in something at some point that's a tiny bit sticky. Oh well, that's fine. That happens. But yeah, I'm very pleased with these socks. They turned out well. I love this color combination, as I said, and all in all these are absolutely my favorite pair. So yeah, I'm kind of sad that it's soon gonna be too warm to wear woolen socks, but I'm still gonna wear them indoors. And I do have quite a lot of Alpakka Forte. I do think I have enough wool to make almost 10 pairs, including some of my leftovers. The bag up here, that one, is leftovers from the previous pairs. So I have so far knit 3 pairs of Under the Oak socks, 2 for myself and 1 for my sister-in-law. So yeah, I'm not a very quick sock knitter. Socks I kind of have to be in the right mood to knit socks, but when I am in the mood to knit socks, they fly off the needles, so yeah. That are all my finished objects at the moment. I'm gonna go quickly through a few of the cast-ons you saw last time that are no longer with us. I did cast on a pair of summer like vanilla socks in this pink yarn. I did actually go through most of my hand-dyed yarn, which I had caked up and was planning on using but never got to, and I just rescanned them in the hope that they would stay nice longer. The only two that are still caked up are here at the side here. Those are still caked up because they have been used. This is now, both of them are like half a skein now. The pink in the background there, you might be able to see that glitter merino, which I used for a pair of socks for my mother, though I think perhaps my grandma ended up with them. Anyway, those are the only two ones that I caked up, and they are not with the rest of the sock yarn because this is the sock yarn, while this is not. It's just that the sock yarn shelf got very full, so I decided to move over. I am in the process of logging all my yarn. I did try to use Ravelry, and that hasn't... I don't like logging things into Ravelry. I would rather write it down, but as I did write it down, I realized that I kept finding yarn that I wanted to put together in a category. So I do think what I'm gonna do is next weekend I'm gonna pull out all my yarn, organize it into like, this is Rauma, this is Sandnes, this is hand-dyed, and keep things that are similar together, and then put it into a shelf in a nice way, but also while putting it in, actually cataloging it and weighing everything. Because I did realize I do have quite a lot of leftover yarn that I do not know what I'm gonna do with, like this bag here. That's all double Sunday from like quite a lot of projects, most of them hat projects, from my forest hiking hat. That's also linked in the bottom if you do want to see that pattern. But yeah, I want to do something with all my leftovers, so I have decided that I'm gonna actually have to figure out what I have and how much I have of everything and organize them in a manner that makes sense to me. And I have now decided to have a knitting book. I have already logged all my projects. So far this year I have started 17, but 2 of them have been frogged, so 3 of them. Oh yeah, that's right. 3 of them. One of them was the sock project that you have seen. Second project I frogged was the Slippy V shawl that I started. Initially I started with a size 3 needle, figured it was too loose, and went all the way down to a size 2mm needle. And that looked good in the broken rib part, but as soon as I started on the Slippy V part, I realized I wasn't quite happy. Also, I did a mistake and I had to rip back quite a lot of times, and eventually when I was like at the same point, I put it to the side and then didn't touch it for 3 weeks, and I realized it was because it didn't bring me any joy anymore. So I ripped that out too. I also did start a singlet project that you haven't seen. I first started it, I started with this yarn, this orange yarn, Anita Strikketante. Orange is not my color. I have said it a lot of times. For some reason I still figured I could make like a top, a singlet, and I started knitting first with one strand, figured it was too loose, and my gauge changed when I started knitting the body. I started bottom up, because I didn't want to do the hard part first. So yeah, and then I decided it was too loose and too open, so I did it double-stranded because I do have a lot of that yarn. And no, kitty, go away. And then at some point I just lost steam and figured I'm not in love with that project anymore. So I ripped that out too. But that doesn't mean I'm still using the orange yarn, but now I'm instead making socks of them. But the socks are underneath a very big project, so I'm gonna show that first. So before I show that project, Danny, if you're here, you need to leave. This is the sweater I'm knitting for you. You can't see it yet. I wanted it to be a surprise when you do eventually get it in the mail. Okay? Good. So, last time I showed you this project, I was up here. And now I'm done with the body. And I'm very pleased. I've done the body in like almost a little more than a month. Like, this has been my comfort project. This is the Winter's Night Enchantment sweater. It's a free pattern from Drops Design, which also have the Drops yarn. And this is made out of Drops yarn Karisma in the colors Navy and Morning Fog. Yes. And I love this pattern. I made my husband try it on and it is actually fitting quite well. I do suspect that Danny is a tiny bit shorter than my husband, so it might be a bit long, but it's going to be very cozy. So yeah, I am very happy. I did do some modifications. I did do the charts the way it's supposed to be, right up until you're splitting for sleeves. I realized that if I just added one more stitch underneath the arm, I could continue all the patterns underneath without having to increase any more stitches. So you wouldn't have this effect of the body going out after splitting for the sleeves, which is what I wanted. So yeah, and they do tell us to increase right before the, okay, this was not easy to show, right before the ribbing, because you're going down a whole needle size to do the ribbing. So going from 4 to 3 millimeter to do the ribbing, yeah. I think we added like 64 stitches. I think we were supposed to add 60, but since I had not added the last 8 stitches that I was supposed to do previously, I now added 4 more stitches just to even things out a bit and try to get closer to the finished number, but still being divisible by 4. So I ended up adding 64 stitches. Yeah, I'm gonna try and remember to write this down in the Ravelry project page, but at the moment I haven't even made a project page. I am not very good at using Ravelry. I am a lot better at using my own notebook, though I haven't taken any notes for this project at all, to be honest, which I probably should. But yeah, I have now finished the body, and I'm gonna pick up the sleeves and pick up the stitches underneath, and then I have to figure out how many stitches do I need to continue the pattern, and I also have to read through the instructions for the sleeves, because I do think we're supposed to do some decreases, I mean increases. But yeah, I'm going to figure out that a little bit later. Yeah. They are quite big sleeves though, but I mean, they are for men, so I'm guessing it would be very uncomfortable if it was too tight. But yeah, I really do love this project. I am actually gonna just remove this marker because I'm pretty certain I'm gonna finish, well, maybe finish a sleeve, but if I don't finish a sleeve, I'm just gonna add it back. Yeah, I have been enjoying this project immensely. So yeah, my husband is quite sensitive to wool, so when he tried it on, he did not like the feel of it at all. But he also don't like wool sweaters in general. I would never make him a wool sweater because that would be torture, both for me and for him. So yeah, I am very glad that I have someone who do want a knit sweater, and also I know don't have access to knit sweaters in general. Most of the people here where I live have someone in their close family who knits or knits themselves. So, and also there's a lot of wool sweaters you can buy at different stores. But I know that's not as common in like America and like outside of Europe, I guess. So yeah, I'm very glad that my knitting skills will give someone else some joy. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this project at the moment. Maybe you want to see the floats. I know some people like that. This is the floats from the part where you have like one dot, and then here are all the floats for the more intricate parts. Most of the time I did not catch any floats, and I think the only part where I did catch floats is here at the very end, just because I think it's like 7 stitches in between, and it's quite big stitches, so yeah. You can see where I've done the increases right after that part, but I do think that's gonna block out quite well. So yeah. If it were up to me, I would probably wait around before doing increases again, but I mean, it doesn't matter that much. I have figured out a very nice way of doing the when there's one and then one, like every other color, every other time. I just have both threads or yarn over the finger the way I usually have one, and then just knit one and knit the other, and make sure they don't cross over or twist around each other. So I've been very consistent with that. The way I'm holding it, I think I've used the white as the dominant the entire way. That's why the white pops so well here at the bottom. It doesn't actually matter which one is the dominant one, but I do like how the white pops against the blue. It's a very, very nice detail. This is a very traditional part of sweater patterns where I come from. So yeah, I'm very pleased. It has taken a long time and a lot of effort, but also it has given me a lot of joy. I don't think I would have been working this diligently on it if it wasn't for the fact that it was both quite fun and because I've been thinking of a specific person while knitting it, and thinking that I hope this will give him some joy in this quite difficult time, I guess. Unstable time is probably the best way to say. I know it doesn't actually make a big difference, but giving someone something that at least gives them a tiny bit of joy would, in my eyes, at least help the situation a little bit. So yeah. And when he does decide to come and visit, he'll have something to wear. Depending on the year, or time of year he decides to come. I'm gonna put it right here. Just because it's so big, I don't think I can fit it back in the basket and still do stuff. So yeah, I did see my phone light up, so I'm just gonna check if it was anything important, and it was not. Sometimes important things happen, so I need to pay attention. Okay, anyway, the last 3 whips are whips you have seen many times before. No, actually one of them you haven't, but 2 of them you have. I'm gonna do the one you haven't seen before first. This is the orange yarn I told you about that I tried knitting singlet out of. Didn't work out. And I did have that pink pair of socks on the needles. I knit them up with 2mm needles, but I knit them, and I started knitting that pair before I had blocked the pair I had knit before, and I realized that pair was tighter than I liked it. So now I kind of had like 2 pairs that were too tight if I did finish the pink pair, which was why I decided to just rip back. So now I'm knitting on 2.25. They're still just regular vanilla socks. I have started on the heel flap. I haven't gotten pretty far, to be honest. Shh. My cat is still trying to break in. But yeah, I did try to film an episode last week. That's why I have this stitch marker here, but I didn't have time to edit that video. So yeah, it's like 1.5 weeks passed by before I had the time to edit it, and by that point I felt like I could just film a new one that was more accurate, because filming one in the middle of the week and then at the end of the week, it wouldn't reflect how much I have actually done. It would seem like I did a lot in like 4 days. So no, everything you're seeing now is the progress I've had over almost a month. So yeah, almost exactly a month. Go away, kitty. No. Okay. So yeah, I've started on the heel flap. I'm not done. Probably gonna take a while. Since I'm no longer knitting on the bus because I've started biking again. I don't know when I'm gonna do this. Maybe I can do this during choir practice because I do need something less big. I don't think I can bring my wow, what's it called again? Winter's Night Enchantment sweater to choir practice in a comfortable way. Maybe this can be choir practice socks. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about it. I did forget to say what yarn this was. This is Anita Strikketante in the colorway orange. So that's very nice. Oh, and I do really love the marled effect. So even though this is like very orange. Okay, focus. Come on. Hello. Focus here. There you go. My camera doesn't always want to focus on me for some reason. But yeah, I really do like this yarn. One of the other pairs of socks I have is also knit out of this yarn, and I really do like it. Though they are a bit tight. I don't know if that's the yarn or if it's because I've started knitting in the round with socks. This is my Sjøgrønn needles, and I think they're 9 inches, or maybe 10 inches. Yeah, and 2.25mm because I'm trying to make these socks not as tight, and I do think it has worked. I do see that they are a tiny bit bigger, and the fabric isn't quite as tight, though it is still tight enough, I guess. I do like the fabric on my socks to be tight, that's why even though I have very small feet, I still use 64 stitches. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this pair of socks. Wow, I'm really flying through everything here now. Okay, last two projects. I have my red sweater, which you have seen before. I have not made a lot of progress on this one. Clearly the colorwork sweater has been my priority, and this one has not gotten that much attention, though it has gotten a little bit because I've knitted like 2 centimeters or something. Yeah, it's like 9 rows, almost 10, and I'm quite happy with that. Yeah, this is knit out of Strikkekista Potensial in the colorway Lollipop. I'm knitting on 2.5mm needles, so this is also a product that takes like ages. I do think some of the reason I've been knitting so much on the other sweater is because it is 4mm needles, and that's like the biggest needles I use for garments. So I'm kind of like feeling like that's going so fast and just flying off the needles and everything. And I do think the reason why I was so obsessed getting this one done is because those use the same needles. So yeah. Yeah, in case you haven't seen this project before, this I've been working on for almost a year. It is a saddle shoulder construction. It's my own design, and yeah, I am still quite far away from splitting for sleeves, and to be honest, I really can't wait until I get there, because then this will just be knitting in the round, and I really do think that will make this a lot easier. Now it's like almost mindless, but 4 times around I have to remember to increase or knit those increases twisted, and to be honest, I just haven't been in the right mood to knit that much, because you kind of have to pay attention, but not so much that it's engaging. I guess that's the right way to say. When you increase so rarely and there's so many stitches, I do sometimes get into kind of like getting into the zone, and you're just knitting, and then suddenly you realize you passed the point where you're supposed to increase, which is why I do have these needle markers to remember to do it, but every time I get to them I have to remember which side I'm supposed to do the increases on. Because now the sleeves are getting so big that I'm going to have to like check, am I on the inside or outside of the sleeve at the moment, because now I'm increasing so... oh come, no, this is getting tangled. Yeah, there you go. I am doing the increases so that the sleeve will slowly get enough stitches, and then I will split for sleeves, clearly. Yeah. I do think perhaps this is what I'm gonna knit on afterwards, because I'm not quite in the headspace for picking up sleeves at the moment. Maybe I'll knit on this one, maybe I'll knit on the other one. I mean, I only have 4 projects at this moment, and I'm trying very hard to keep it that way, because even though I have a lot of ideas for what I want to knit, I do want to get my yarn organized first and get some things off the needles, so I don't end up with the situation I had. I didn't tell you about it, but I had the situation where I was like, I don't know what I want to knit on, nothing engages me, I have too many choices, and nothing appeals. And usually my solution then is I have too few projects because nothing appeals, I'll knit on something new. And then that will have the priority for a week or two, and then I will pick up some of my previous projects and knit on them for a week or two, and yeah, things will rotate. That didn't work out this time. That's why I followed 3 projects. Yeah, it just didn't quite work out the way I wanted to. I also had quite a knitting slump because I was very exhausted, but I'll tell you more about that later. I'm gonna show all the projects first. So yeah, I am very pleased with this project too. This is actually one of the few projects where I've written up the pattern first and then just knit from it. And yeah, I do think this is gonna be quite nice. And like, this is 50% superwash merino and 50% silk, so it's very breezy, very cozy, light. I think this is gonna be a perfect summer sweater. I'm gonna have to wear something underneath probably, like a singlet or something, because I'm thinking it's quite likely that at some point I'm going to be removing this as the day warms up and then putting it back on when it gets a bit cooler. So yeah, still very pleased with this project, but it is very slow, so, and it hasn't been my priority, wow, can't even talk. So yeah, eventually it will get done, but not quite yet. The last project you have seen before too, and that one also had quite a lot of progress. No, this was actually the one that had the 4mm needles that I stole. That's fine. Since the last time, I knit quite a lot. I don't know if you can see the stitch marker, but I've knit this much since last time. This is my own design too. Most of my projects are. There they are. And this is my green cable knit sweater. I have a light one that I usually use, I guess. Probably the right way to say. Yeah, this one is made out of Lille, Rille thick merino in the colorway Misty Mountains. I have been hem-hawing about what to do because this one will probably not have enough of the main yarn to get it done. And then I did buy some yarn up here, this one, which is in a different weight and a different colorway, but still from Lille Rille. And the only thing is that she doesn't have any more of this Misty Mountain color, at least not when I bought from her last time. And yeah, since then I did realize that my other sweater I still have 50 grams left over, which is half a skein, so I only used 4.5 skeins for the original sweater. Perhaps I won't need more than 5 skeins when I'm done with this one, but I am still holding that yarn reserved in case I do need it. If for nothing else, maybe just for the cuffs, because that would be cool, or like the bind off if that's all I need. Maybe just collar. I don't know. I'm gonna try and at least finish the body with the Misty Mountain colorway. Maybe this could have like a shorter sleeve, though I don't think I want that. I've been thinking a lot and not quite deciding. I think what I just have to do is knit on it until the body's done and the length I want it, and then just see how much yarn I have left. I think that's the best way to do it. The other sweater I did have to rip back quite a few times into the folded neckline several times. There were a lot of things that didn't quite go the way I wanted. I don't think I'm gonna do a folded neckline on this one, and also I think I'm just gonna make it reversible, so it won't have the extra length in the back, I guess, of the collar, to like keep my neck warm. Not every sweater needs to have short rolls or extra length in the collar. Sometimes you can just have a reversible one and it doesn't matter, it's fine. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about this one. I have taken a break from writing patterns. I have a very intense job, and at the moment I've only been there for 4 months. Yeah, I haven't been there that long. I started in January, and I'm still learning a lot, and this has turned out to be a lot more intense for me. I don't necessarily think because of the work, but more because there's a lot more people, a lot more things to learn and know about. It's not necessarily chaotic, but it's not as calm as the previous job, where I was left at my own devices quite a lot, which, to be honest, is a good thing. I do like working hard and being in a bubble, but being in a bubble too long does sometimes you get kind of stuck in your way when you're trying to program, and you kind of lose track of some of the more obvious solutions. So yeah, things have been a bit intense, and that's actually a good segue to start talking about a bit of the life update stuff. I'm gonna put this one back in the basket, and hopefully, no, I'm gonna have to remember to remove the stitch marker first, or else I will forget. So yeah. Oh no, it's stuck. There you go. But yeah, I don't remember last month if I talked about the fact that I was going to do an elimination diet. I have now been on the elimination diet, and it has been quite intense. I thought the cravings and stuff would be worse, but that's not actually it. The problem has been the fact that I now make most of my meals. Oh no. There you go. Most of my meals by myself, which you would think wouldn't be a big problem, but I am the type of person who am not at all interested in making food. I don't like making food. If I never had to make a meal ever again, that would be very nice, but that's not how it is. And previously I would make my own lunch and breakfast, and my husband would usually make dinner. But yeah, we did decide before I started this diet that it would be too difficult to find meals that the both of us would enjoy and also get all the nutrition we needed. And it would be very expensive if both of us would have to go on this gluten-free, dairy-free, sugar-free, caffeine-free thing. So it was easier to just do our own cooking. I have a canteen at work, so I can quite easily get at least some of my nutrition through the canteen at work, though they're very bad at gluten-free things and dairy-free. So yeah, most of the time I do need to supplement with food I bring from home. And after a long, stressful day at work, I don't want to make food. And also, I have spoken about it previously, I do have trouble registering my hunger cues. I know I should eat, but I'm not bothered by being hungry. So I can go days without eating if I'm not careful and don't pay attention. which have happened now multiple times because my husband haven't like given me a plate of food and said eat. It's not his responsibility, it just... I do miss it though. He loves making food for the two of us, and he hates making food just for it in itself because it's not fun making food for just one person. I have been making some meal prep stuff, like I've been making gluten-free spaghetti with meat sauce, which has been working quite well because I get a lot of vegetables and stuff, and it's easy to bring to work. My cat's back nagging. Go away! And yeah, I've just been struggling getting enough food in my body, to be honest. Which of course have made me more prone to getting ill because I'm already immunocompromised. And yeah, it's been a vicious cycle. The only thing that's been good is I've only had one migraine in the past 4 weeks. So, progress. But yeah, I really do need to do something about this food situation. I crave stability and I crave routine, but I'm terrible at doing it myself. So yeah, I haven't had the energy to film, I haven't had the energy to do the yarn organization that I wanted, I haven't had the energy to do anything other than sit in a chair and knit. And sometimes I haven't even had the energy for that. I do know, and I do realize, that it seems like I've done quite a lot of knitting, but do remember it's been a month. So yeah, I haven't knit nearly as often as I wanted, nor nearly as much as I wanted, but I have had quite great progress. I haven't touched a single one of my library books that I have down here. I wanted to read them during Easter. I just haven't had the energy. And yeah, the house is a mess because I haven't had the energy to like get through all the laundry. My husband have thankfully done most of the dishes and things like that. But yeah, the laundry, I did eventually get through washing most of our laundry, but we haven't put it away. So it's just a big laundry pile of clothing. And you can hear my cat still nagging. I hope you can't hear her. But yeah, I have had very little energy for anything lately, and I do hope that will change. I'm gonna start testing things in a week or two. It's the weekend. We are leaving on a Wednesday and coming back on Friday. Not next week, but week after, and that's the week when I'm going to start testing things out. I'm going to start testing gluten because I severely miss bread, to be honest, and also the convenience of bread, just because it makes everything so much easier. I have tried gluten-free bread. I'm sorry, but it's just not edible. It's too dry, some of it tastes moldy, but I think that's perhaps because the store where I live at is terrible at keeping the freezer stocked in a proper way. They always keep things above the freezer line, which of course does make the freezer less effective and makes the food more prone to spoiling, and I have tried to tell them about it, but yeah, not easy. So in general, I can't wait to eat bread again. And it doesn't mean I've had a perfect diet for the past 4 weeks. I have eaten some chocolate once, and no, actually twice. Twice in 4 weeks is actually quite good, to be honest. And one day I mixed up one of the snacks that I thought were both gluten and lactose free, and turned out it was only gluten free, which was a bit annoying. I have decided to not care about testing alcohol because I drink so rarely. So I have decided that if I do want a cocktail at the moment, still sugar free and all of that, then I don't care. I can honestly say that last year I only drank a handful of times, and I literally mean like a handful, because I usually don't like how alcohol makes me feel. But sometimes I want to taste. Very rarely, but sometimes. So yeah, I'm still saying I don't drink, because if you drink less than 5 times a year, you're basically not drinking. That's the standard, I don't know how to say it. Our government says that you're considered abstinent from alcohol if you have less than, I think, 10 units of alcohol in a year or something like that. So if you have less than 1 drink a month, you don't drink. So yeah, it's fine. Other than that, I do enjoy my work quite a lot, but I do also feel like my energy levels are quite low. I have gotten good feedback on the work I've done, so clearly I'm doing something right. Yeah. I do think that the anxiety I've been feeling lately is related to the fact that I just haven't had enough food to eat. And I just haven't had the energy to do anything. Which also means I haven't had the energy to exercise, and everyone knows that exercise is good for the mood and also for the body. I have been biking though, so I haven't been completely without exercise, but I haven't done the strength training I usually do. And I think I need to get back to that. So yeah. Next week we're in May, and finally in like a proper spring month. And May is, where I live, quite busy. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm very tired. For the have very little energy part. May is a very busy month. And this year is extra busy because even though we have a lot of public holidays, we also have a lot of events that happen. So we are going to a wedding, we are going on a holiday to our capital city, and I'm going to a conference. So I was afraid I was going to have to fly 3 weeks in a row, but it's only 2 weeks because the wedding, thankfully, is just a boat ride away, I guess. Or maybe we don't even need to take a ferry, maybe we can drive. I don't know, I'm not the driver. So yeah. Other than that, yeah, I do want to get my yarn organized. I might wait until next week to get most of it organized. I want to figure out what to do with all my leftovers. I have some plans, like this yarn. The green one I got from my friend a few months back now. This is brown, but you can barely see it. And this is also green, but a darker one. This turquoise is actually a turquoise that I used for my sailor sleepover, because it turned out I couldn't figure out the sleeves, so it became a sleepover instead. I have quite a lot of this yarn, and I like the color palette, so I think that's gonna be a second seascape sweater. Over here, no, there, you can see I have a yarn bowl and also a yarn glass, and a lot of like random leftovers just stacked. And then down here, oh, there, I have a few bottles and bags with, that's not leftovers, that's or some of it are leftovers, like let's see, this bag closest to me are leftovers and also mixed in with some other cotton yarn, and I do want to make something out of that. Those are mini skins that are like 10 grams each in very bright, very colorful colors. I think I have like two choices to what to do with them. I could either make like very cool colorful makeup pads, which I wouldn't use for makeup, but like just to clean my face more thoroughly than just with my hands, because like scrubbing is always good for me. The other thing I could do is, I know where I bought it, and they have more mini sets, so I can just buy more mini sets and put them together to do something more with it, though I don't want to buy more yarn. And also there's more than just cotton, there's also some acrylic, and I have realized I do not like making garments out of acrylic, so the petite knit cardigan, the champagne cardigan, will not be knit out of the acrylic I've been planning on using. I don't know if I will ever knit it, because I kind of really want it in that color, but I don't have any yarn in that color that will suit it. And I don't know if I want another white cardigan, to be honest. Anyway, that acrylic yarn that I have at the top here, which you can't even see, I am planning on crocheting some blankets and giving them away. Most likely to some kind of shelter or something like that. We don't necessarily have shelters, that's not the right word, but like, yeah. There are not that many homeless people where I live, and the few that are homeless, they do get quite well taken care of. Most of them do have, what's it called, like, you have access to housing, but they do come with conditions, and they're not always that easy to like keep the conditions up. That's why some people still prefer to be homeless instead of trying to like get through the program, which I do understand. It's very difficult to do something when you're forced to do it. You would rather do it when you want to. But yeah, we do have some programs like soup kitchens and places where you can either give away yarn or give away like things that are made with yarn. So blankets, hats, scarves. Every year we have this campaign where people knit orange scarves and give out. Maybe that's what I should do with the rest of the orange yarn when I'm done with the socks. Just knit the orange scarf and give away. That would be nice. Yeah, maybe. It depends on how much energy I have to knit something for other people. The sweater for Danny is already kind of like intense, but I love it. Yeah. What more is there to say? Yeah. I am trying to figure out what to do with all the leftovers. I did look over my yarn and realized that I probably have enough yarn for at least 5 sweaters. I think maybe even 6. Not counting the ones I've already started on. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, at least 5. 5 sweaters, not counting the ones I'm already working on. I have enough yarn for at least 50 pairs of socks. That's not even counting that's only the hand-dyed things. I can probably make 10 pairs of socks for myself in this commercially dyed yarn, so I can make a lot of under the yoke socks. I also have enough yarn to make at least 4, maybe even 5 t-shirts. So I'm kind of thinking like, because I'm very slow on the sock knitting front, I don't think the original plan of only buying sock yarn when I'm going to events is the most practical thing. At least not fingering weight sock yarn, because I'm very slow with that. Perhaps the next time I'm thinking of I'm sorry. Next time I'm attending yarn festival, maybe I should instead focus on getting 1 or 2 sweater quantities. There won't be another yarn event until June, so hopefully I will have had some time to figure out what to do with most of my leftovers. I don't know what to do with all my leftovers of Double Sunday from all the hats and sweaters, or sweater. I have one lilac sweater that I'm actually considering frogging because I'm not happy with it. Maybe I can make a scrappy sweater? I don't know. It hasn't been easy figuring out what to do. Other than that, yeah, figure out what to do with all the leftovers. Knitting furiously on the things I have. Maybe I should start a second pair of under the oak socks so I can get through more of my sock yarn, or maybe I should just focus on getting through the hand-dyed yarn and knit more on this sock. I don't know. I do know that I am quite done with a few of these projects, not in the sense that they are done, but more like, why am I still knitting on this? It should have been done ages ago. I also have a very big blanket project that I don't show every week because I haven't touched it in months. Maybe I should just sit and have that as a priority for a while. I don't know. As you might hear, I'm having a lot of difficulties deciding what to do and not, and I think that's just because I'm so fatigued. So yeah, I'm hoping I'm better next week. I've been quite ill yesterday and the day before. I've had home office, which is good, but it was still very hard. Also, there's pollen season at the moment, and it's not fun. Yeah. If I was born 100 years ago, I would have died ages ago. I would never have gotten to my age now. Miracle of modern science and all of that, but yeah, sometimes I feel like my body is trying to kill me. That's just how it is. But yeah, I do think I'm gonna have to go and make myself some food, because there's still like 4 hours until we're going out to eat. We're going to have sushi, which I'm very happy about. I'm going to have to remember to ask for gluten-free soy sauce, but the rest of it is both gluten and lactose free, so makes me very happy. So yeah, and I really do want cola, so I'm gonna have to make a discussion with myself on whether or not I'm willing to risk it, because caffeine can trigger migraine, and I'm trying to figure out what triggers migraines. But I have now been without caffeine for a month, and I've only had one migraine, and that was yesterday, and I think that was because of stress, not anything else. Yeah, because I didn't eat any gluten, I didn't eat any dairy, I didn't have any caffeine, I didn't even have any alcohol, so I think yesterday was just stress. Stress can also trigger migraines. Fun world. Okay, I've been babbling enough. I feel like the more tired I get, the less coherent I am. So I'm very sorry if at the end here I haven't made any sense at all. I did forget to say that me and my knitting friend have consistently had knitting dates every Tuesday, and it's been very fun. She came over to my house the Tuesday during Easter because I wasn't working but she was, so she came after work, and all in all I'm very happy. This does seem like this is gonna be a very nurturing and good friendship, and we have like things in common. So yeah, I think this is gonna go quite well. Other than that, yeah, I mean, you have heard I'm going to a wedding later this in May, and to a conference, and also we're going on a 3-day vacation because we're going on a concert, and when we're if we're gonna fly anyway, we might as well stay for a few days. So yeah, I'm kind of regretting not taking the whole week off, but I mean, we have a lot of holidays during May anyway. I think we only have like one normal work week in all of May, and that week is the week when I'm doing the conference, so it's not going to be a normal week for me anyway. I'm very excited about the conference. I have never been to a conference before, and I know it's going to be exhausting because travel usually is, but I think I'm going to learn a lot. I think I'm going to get closer to my colleagues. In general, I'm very much looking forward to it. And also, by the time we're getting to the conference part, that's when I'm going to start testing dairy. So by that point I can already eat bread, unless it's triggered a migraine, then I know it probably is gluten as a problem. And I can test dairy and hopefully not get a migraine while on conference. Yeah, I do think it's gonna be okay. I suspect that I have been more stressed than I've been aware of, and that it's the stress that had made me have migraines and not necessarily food. So yeah, still gonna test though. I always have to do that. But yeah. Okay, sorry for all the rambling again. I am going to make myself some food, and then I'm going to knit some. Maybe I'll knit on the red sweater just to have something different. But yeah, thank you all for watching. If you liked the video, I would appreciate it if you gave me a thumbs up. And subscribe if you haven't already. And hopefully, I'll see you next week.